Hey folks, it's Sam here with another episode of Heroes of Autism. I'm here with Icylee, who's a close personal friend of mine, who's done amazing work with autism in the Philadelphia area where we're both from. And she has a daughter on the spectrum who is a math whiz and on her way to college already. You know, she's not even in high school and she's already reaching for college. So, Icylee, tell the folks a bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Icylee Basketbill, and I am an enthusiastic mom of a beautiful 14-year-old daughter diagnosed on the autism spectrum. And I fell in love with the journey once she got diagnosed, and I, pretty much wanted to make sure that I've been involved with, doing things in the community and connecting with other families. In Philadelphia and all the surrounding areas.
Mm. Why is it so important to connect with your community and rather than just lone wolfing it like so many other parents out there?
Well, I think it's important to be able to connect with the community because, for one, we have to continue to educate, and we are learning about what autism is every single day. I think that, what I found out was that people, when they hear autism, they think everybody is the same.
Hmm.
So being able to make sure that we're being clear and concise about, what it is, like autism 1, 2, 3, what it is. But when I talk about my daughter, I can be able to tell them, okay, these are the characteristics. These are the things that, she struggles with. And these are the things that are, um, strengths. It's important for the community and people that are around to know about what autism is, because one day, my daughter's going to be, hopefully having a job, and being out there, being proactive and educating people that's going to be in her lives, the people in, at the neighborhood store. If she goes to a certain store, being able to build that relationship with, the store owner, and who knows, she could volunteer in there one day and maybe work. So that's why it's just important for them to know what autism is, so that way they can meet us where we are.
Mhm. That's beautiful. And for those folks who don't know, should definitely Google how she won a car thanks to her efforts to not only support her daughter but support other young parents, single parents, like anyone in the Philadelphia area that's affected by autism. How has raising such a daughter like given you strength as a mother?
Well, one, being a new mom, she's my one and only child. I had her premature. She was only 3 pounds at birth. So, having that outlook of, oh, I can't wait to be able to engage and, do things with my daughter, um, you know, just was automatic joy. However, once the diagnosis of autism came down the pike, it became difficult for me to kind of understand, what it was and how do I go about learning on how to take care of her. It has, the journey's been challenging, but I've really enjoyed being able to learn from my daughter. It kind of slows things down. It teaches you patience. It
Hmm.
teaches you to kind of come down to the child's level instead of saying, you're supposed to do this and we expect you to do that.
Hmm.
It allows me to step back and say, you know what, let me figure out how she's trying to communicate, how she, what she wants, and for me to learn in my own way on how to support her and those around us.
Hmm.
It's been I call it, it's been an an you know an amazing roller coaster with a little bit of, barriers, but we're
Hmm.
going to call those speed bumps.
They certainly they are speed bumps because I've met your daughter
Mhm.
on several occasions, and anyone who's met Icy's daughter can see how brilliant she is. But along your journey with her, what are some of the biggest lessons your daughter's taught you apart from patience?
um my daughter has taught me um that it doesn't matter, um what, if what the disability is or what the challenges are.
Mhm.
She has taught me to kind of look, and think outside the box,
Mhm.
to on ways to be creative, not just with myself, teaching her, but to be able to mirror that and to help model that for other families.
Mhm.
Um, and an example is that she's getting ready to graduate at June 12th, 8th grade, going into high school, and she wants to cook. And so um, I've taught her how to cook. She knows how to do those things,
Mhm.
the basics, because they're life skills. We check that off on our checklist.
Mhm.
But to be able to set many goals, and I said, you know what, I want to be able to have that attitude that you're not going to tell me what my child can't do. That helps me get my goals aligned.
Mhm.
So it's just been amazing that when I see her accomplish things, it makes me feel good, and it challenges me to be able to apply that to my same journey for myself as a mom, as a African American woman, in the world. So yeah.
I see that. That's beautiful, and I think that's something a lot of parents should take away is that let your child inspire you. Uh, Oh, no. Hey, folks, sorry for that big little blip in the program, but we had a little technical difficulty, but we're back. As I was saying before we got cut out, the big thing that Icylee has taught me, and I think she's been trying to teach other parents that have met her, is that as much as we try to inspire our children to succeed, I think our children can also inspire us to succeed, no matter whether special needs or not. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about Icy and her daughter's story is learning to push each other to be each other's best versions of best versions of themselves.
Right.
And how have you learned to really nurture not only your strengths but your daughter's strengths rather than focusing on what she struggles with and you struggle with?
You talk about in regards to like the strengths that she
Yeah,
displayed.
like what strengths does your daughter have that you try and nurture?
Well, I really appreciate the structure and routine and the organization that she has,
Hmm.
because, honey, I am not organized, and she taught me on how to be, just to be consistent.
Hmm.
So that's a plus, because I'll just give you an example of, she knows how to do the laundry. She knows how to, do her personal hygiene. And even when she does the dishes, I'll say, "Oh, leave those there. Mommy will do them," because she does them every day. She'll make sure she does them before she prepares her meals, which that's what you're supposed to do, is make sure you're cleaning the dishes up. I'm
Right.
like, I'll get the dishes, and then I'll turn around. She's getting the dishes from out of my bedroom or wherever else in the house, and she's doing them, even though I told her, "Oh, just go ahead and relax."
Right.
So I just think that just being able to have those qualities,
Mhm.
and just kind of build on that, in all settings. So that's the school, at home and in the community, to be able to, utilize those strengths. So that's a huge one that I really enjoy,
Mhm.
that I'm learning.
Do you feel like your daughter definitely inspired you to go back to school and better yourself?
Most definitely. Around 2015, we, well, I was already teetering about possibly going back to school,
Mhm.
because what was happening was I enjoyed, the autism community, learning, going to workshops and trainings. But I realized that, I got to figure out, it's your time. I told myself it's my time. I
Mhm.
wanted to wait until she got into an independent place, because I had to put a lot of work in with the tantruming and all the different behaviors early on. But
Mhm.
once she got in a great independent spot, I said, okay, it's my turn. So she
Mhm.
definitely has inspired me to go back to school, to be able to um, have some structure, and for me to have goals for myself.
Mhm.
And she's been doing such a wonderful job in school herself. I wanted to challenge myself. So
Mhm.
yeah, most
That's
definitely.
really inspiring, and I think that is so important for any parents who just got their child diagnosed or themselves diagnosed. Is making time for yourself is just so important that just because your child is on the spectrum does not mean you no longer matter. And I think a lot of parents out there lose themselves in the chaos of being diagnosed and the early tantrums. But like Icylee has been saying, consistency is just so excuse my language, damn important in order to get your child to that independent place. The more consistent you can be, the more independent they can be.
Right.
Because as Temple taught me recently, the most powerful thing about being autistic is the need for control. Once they feel like they have control, they believe they can do anything. And that's, I think it's just a big part of being human, autistic or not, is if you don't feel like you're in control, you're going to be crazy. But once you reestablish that control, you can do anything. And Icylee and her daughter definitely are proven that they can do anything. That I believe your daughter won a scholarship.
Yes. So during elementary school, she attended Prince Hall Elementary in Philadelphia, and she started off with being in the autistic support classroom for kindergarten through, I guess, first grade. What they decided to do is that she was picking up things so quickly. They wanted to be able to help transition her into a regular education classroom setting. And we made sure that we had a personal care assistant to be able to help her with coping skills. That way no behaviors are going to impede in her academics. So she started regular ed second grade. Once, building relationship with the regular teachers and educating them about autism, it was a perfect situation. So by the time she graduated fifth grade, she was the only one that had a diagnosis of autism in a regular class in the entire school. And they awarded her a scholarship to East Stroudsburg University, which she has to make sure that she has to maintain a B average and above from middle school all the way up to, she graduates high school. We have to submit the report cards. She has to submit an essay and also do some things in the community. And I've had her, I do a lot of outreach and tabling with sharing resources. And I've had her with me several times, like we were at the 76ers game with Autism Awareness Night, Sensory Night. And she's helped me, just, being out there and help me with the papers and things like that. So that scholarship that we're trying to, work towards, it's just been a blessing. And so I'm just so proud of her.
Yeah, and she's definitely something. She's definitely living proof that we can accomplish anything. For parents out there who, the ultimate goal is to get your child back into a regular classroom. But I think the key to achieving such a goal is advocating and being okay with the world knowing that your child is on the spectrum. That I think the other big part is using your child's name more than, oh, this is my daughter, she has autism. Like, no, this is my daughter, and her name is Jill or Jackie or whatever. Like, start with helping your child's teachers get to know the child rather than the diagnosis.
Exactly. So you're talking about, person-centered, approaches and making sure you're using person-first language. You're a child or an individual before the disability. So you're absolutely right, Sam.
Right. But and then I think that's one of the huge issues I'm seeing in the field right now is people are still stuck on the label. But just your daughter showing the work that she's getting B's and A's.
She's getting A's.
And if you want your child, if you want people to see really beyond their diagnosis, show the work, show what they can do. Whether it be shooting a video of them or creating a portfolio of all their awesome grades, and the fact that you're such an example to her that you are taking her out into the community, which can be so hard for a lot of parents out there, especially the ones that are still struggling with how to handle the meltdowns. How do you get your daughter ready to go out into the community, and how has that changed over the years?
Oh my goodness. I think that's the most inspiring part of this autism journey that I've experienced. is, the early parts of me not really understand some of the characteristics as far as the behaviors, the tantruming, that it was to the point where my daughter would tantrum so much, I did not want to be seen in public with her. I mean, I actually developed anxiety. I didn't want to go outside. I mean, there would be days I would actually need things in the house and I'd just be like, nope, I don't want to do it. But after attending several workshops and trainings around, behaviors and sensory and understanding it, I was able to get that attitude of, you know what, I'm not going to be mad. If she does have a meltdown, I have to learn on not to feed into arguing with people, debating. It's about educating the people around you, like I said earlier. And I said, you know what, they don't know what they don't know. And instead of saying, why are you looking at us? I choose to say, oh, well, this is what's going on. Do you want to help me? She's, she does, have some struggles. Do you want to help me? I'm like, you looking over here? Help me do this with her, and I can do my shopping. So, so over the years, it's to the point where now it's just refreshing. It's like I'm sitting there looking at her as we're driving. She'll be 15 in July, and the fact that she's able to go certain places without any behaviors. Like right now, she doesn't have any type of wraparound services. She titrated. She met the goals. The only thing we have is maybe blended case management, which provides support and maybe resources, which I can kind of do that myself. But I want parents to understand that when your child has services and they start taking the services away, and a lot of times it means the child is doing well in those areas, and so I had to learn that, and I would say, oh, I'm her first teacher, and so I continue to learn on different ways to, to support her as she gets older.
Yeah, I think that's the most vital thing is like, and it can be scary like you have all this support and then it's slowly being taken away, but like you seem to have turned it on a positive that, oh, my daughter has less service. That's because she's doing better, not because someone's out to get her, or it's not a bad thing.
Right, or the agency, we know how the agencies can be short with staff, and sometimes parents can feel overwhelming. And this is a prime example of being, with the quarantine, with the C virus. That's what I'm calling it, the C virus. Is that this is the time to be able to focus on creating those routines, looking at things you want to work on, making many goals. Because, when you have services and you have therapists in your life, it's temporary. They're there to model for parents, to show them, okay, these are the tools you can use, and I'm going to step back and let you guys do what you have to do when I'm not here. And then the whole, like almost like a hierarchy, you're going to the road to independence. So you want to make sure you have the tools put in place to be able to reach your goal, and whatever that may be.
Exactly. And I think also key is like, and I've seen you with your daughter, like celebrating when you do meet those goals, like, and just like any parent, showing you're proud of your child for, even if it's like brushing their teeth for the first time without you hand over hand, like, or
yes,
using the bathroom. That's like a huge one for a lot of parents. Without like celebrating those small victories is the key to getting your child to that independent space, no matter where they are on the spectrum.
Right.
Like any child, these kids are looking to know mommy and daddy are proud of us.
And what's cool recently, well, just today, she's really counting down her graduation. As you know, I attended Harcum College starting in 2015, had some rough bumps along the way, didn't have anybody to watch her when I attended school. And then I had some other little personal things going on. But when I saw that she was graduating 2020 from middle school, that was my college 2020 is my college, graduation year. From last year, I said, I'm determined to be able to graduate with my daughter. And when I graduated, she came, which was May 9th. She said, she told me congratulations, what melted my heart you
Oh,
know. And then also today, after she was finished school, she said her classes online. I said, "Are you happy?" She's like, I said, "Why are you happy?" She said, "I'm graduating in June." And
oh,
so for her to recognize that, she's coming towards the end of her goal and she's expressing that right there has me so excited.
mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's great. And that, like, I'm sure when you were going through the more rougher years with her, you didn't know like a day like this would be coming. How, like, how does it feel like to go from not knowing if these days would happen to knowing that they are happening, and that your daughter's actually graduating from school?
From middle school, yeah, I'm excited. And it just goes to show you that all the hard work that someone puts in, that I have put in, it really goes a long way. And it allows me to create that foundation,
Mhm.
to get the confidence in other parents that may have been or are in the same boat as me. Because a
Mhm.
lot of times we focus on what our kids cannot do. We're looking in the future. We're sad. I get like that from time to time. I had a moment yesterday where I cried because I'm like, um, I don't want to put my child's business out there, but a prime example was, she was trying to log on to her class and she didn't want to miss it. This is how structured she is. So
Right.
she brought the laptop in the bathroom with her when she was logging on. And the teacher was like, "Oh, Kyra, we can see you." And when I heard that, I quick got the laptop and kind of like closed it. And I was telling her, I was like, "Kyra, so she got upset. She had a meltdown, but I allowed her to get herself together. But what was great? Her classmate that was on the video online school,
Mhm.
she saw it and she just did a great job with redirecting the teacher to say, "Hey, Mr. Such and Such, let me tell you about a joke that you want to hear a joke." So it was an embarrassing moment for my daughter, but I told the teacher I really appreciated that student that knows my daughter and some of her struggles, that she was able to redirect and kind of replace, like almost like a replacement behavior for her,
Mhm.
but just redirect because she knew that it was kind of an embarrassing moment. And I really,
Mhm.
I enjoyed seeing that. That was cool.
That was cool, and I think that's the huge things that I would tell a lot of parents out there that are afraid for their child to be in regular classrooms or be in a community. Like, there are angels everywhere. You just have to be willing to have faith that they will step in when your child can't, and they will often inspire people to speak up. Like, my first speaking gig ever was Icylee was speaking before me, and just watching her talk gave me the confidence to talk back today, speak my truth. And I think more often than not, our children will inspire others to speak up. There's just so many awesome movements because someone has known somebody on the spectrum, and I think that helps end the huge stigma against people like me, because people think we don't want to connect, but this is all about human connection, that we force people to want to connect, want to help each other. And we created such a wonderful community in Philadelphia, and Icylee is at the forefront of creating this beautiful community that would not be here without our children who are on the spectrum, that would be just still strangers. Like, I would have never met Icylee if I wasn't on the spectrum,
Oh.
and she would have never met me. And I think, like, and your daughter's just like, people meet you and your daughter, and it's such an inspiration. And I think that's for parents out there. That's the key. Like, go out and speak on behalf of your child. Bring your child with you. Let the world see your child. That's how they'll learn to be proud of themselves.
And that's where the confidence comes in. And I would, echo the same thing to you, Sam. I think seeing you, meeting you, I think when we met during like the LaSalle
Yeah.
Autism Conference back years back, but you gave me as a parent inspiration to know that the sky's the limit for my daughter. And it's not just about the disability. It was like, oh my gosh, he's married, he has a child, he's went to college. Those were like all things that people, around that are not familiar with autism or any other disability,
Mm.
um, to be able to, don't count our children out. And so that really, I already had that attitude, but that really kind of confirmed it meeting you.
Thank you.
And I'm just so excited that we're able to, continue to do the work, to continue to put out this important information and awareness around autism.
Yeah, and it really is so important it's that it's not just the experts, but it's the families and the people on the spectrum, because we're not test tubes. We are, human beings, and I think you've done such a great job at bringing out your daughter's humanity and the humanity of the parents that are going through this. That we all have our struggles, because there are videos of after you and your daughter went through a meltdown, and it doesn't make either of you less human. It makes you even more human. That these are things that families go through,
Right.
and that's beautiful. That it just makes you feel so alive that you get to have such a powerful connection with your child. That and also it also allows us to value the little things, like using the bathroom on our own. Those
Yes.
individual pens that so many of us take for granted. Even the one people on the spectrum that can never talk, they inspire us. They love the simple things, especially during COVID-19 when we can't go get a latte at Starbucks anymore. Our children and their routines teach us there's so much to look forward to.
It definitely is, and I really want to try to encourage, parents to use this downtime to be able to, set up those goals, because it's and and not only that, just in general, it's going to be a lot of mental health fallout, because it is tough. We are social by nature. And so just at, the parents and the caregivers and anyone that has a child with a disability that's in a tough spot, not getting any support the way they need it. And then also the kids that are in the residential facilities where their parents can't get to them. Like, it's just so much going on. And I'm hoping that the community is ready to have those supports in place, for us to be proactive, for us to get therapy, for us to utilize our employee assistance programs with our jobs, or reach out to other parents, attend parent support groups. All these things are important to keep a balance, because we cannot do this on our own. We can't.
No, and it does not make you weak to ask for help. If we want our children to ask for help, we have to be able to be willing to ask for help too.
Absolutely.
So going forward, what's on the horizon now that you're this big fancy college graduate?
Okay, so I just received my Associate's Arts in Human Services from Harcum, and I am in the process of starting Chestnut Hill College for my bachelor's in psychology, and hopefully that will take me to getting a master's in marriage and family therapy, and I'm hoping it's LaSalle. I had reached out to the marriage and family director at LaSalle. I think her name is Donna. I don't know if she still is or not, but I spoke with her years ago, and she's the one that got me started and pointed me in the direction that I needed to go in. And I reached out to let her know I graduated. And so she's just been a great support. I'm hoping to be able to have my own practice as far as like counseling, meeting individuals, couples, families where they are. I just think it's a right fit for me, and I'm excited, about the journey. And so I made the president's list, the dean's list, and then even a couple of my professors have invited me to attend panels around, different topics such as domestic violence and healthy relationships. And I was invited yesterday to attend one. And what I wanted to bring up was the vulnerable disability population of autism and others around, human trafficking and things, and how can we, figure something out. Like, don't forget about our population too, because, they may not have a voice to express, if they're caregivers, they automatically have a learned approach as far as listening and saying yes to everything that a caregiver caring for them does. So they could be, in a way of someone taking advantage of their SSI checks, or, just getting involved in things. And I want to be able to bring and advocate to those that are just in general wanting to help people behind closed doors, but don't forget about the disability community and how can we spread awareness and have the conversation. So I'm thinking of all kinds of things.
Yeah, and it's great that you have your hand in so many things. Like what led you down this path of wanting to be a marriage counselor? Yeah.
Marriage and family, MFT, marriage and family therapist.
Yes.
Actually LaSalle, attending the Ladder program, the Ladder Family Center at LaSalle University. And that program is, and you already are familiar with it, but for those that may not, it's a program that was developed, I think around like 2011, a few years back, for families in the community, Northwest community, or anywhere, to be able to come and get resources, attend workshops. And the marriage and family interns at LaSalle took time out to be a part of the Ladder program. And I had my first session sitting with an intern, and I loved and I enjoyed the experience. And I'm like, it's not working with kids, it's not working with adults. Like, I'm like, it's working with people and troubleshooting and dealing with systems. And that's really what inspired me to want to pursue my path towards marriage and family therapy.
Yeah, and I think it's something it's really needed, because so far, especially in the disability community, like the focus has always been on the children, as it should be. But there definitely should be something for parents, because we're people too. Just because we have children doesn't mean we should be forgotten. And I encourage people, once Icylee has her practice up, to call this woman up, because you deserve to get self-care. Like, self-care is so vital, not only for yourself, but in your ability to be a parent.
You already know that I had a heart attack in 2014 because of the stress and anxiety built up, and just other life situations where I've been struggling, to try to figure out how can I take care of myself. So one of my approaches was making sure that I'm advocating for parents to have a voice, for parents' confidence to get up, telling, providers and clinicians that, you throw these acronyms around, clinical language that parents don't understand. I've been able to work with different organizations to say, no, let's make this handout more parent friendly, more easy to read. Just like you tell us to use clear and concise language with our kids on a spectrum, do the same thing for parents. They don't know about DSM-5s. They don't know about all these different things. And all they want to know is, how can I take care of my child? And having resources for the parents when they get their child diagnosis, that's important. That's important. Hey, come on over. Say hi to Sam. Right on time, right? Who's this? You say hi.
Hi. How you doing?
You gonna be graduating, right? When? June 12th, right?
Oh, it's coming up. Congratulations, girlie.
And speaking of routines, it's lunchtime, so that's what she's about to go do.
All right, what's she making?
Yeah, I'm not sure what she's making. Kyra, what's on the menu? Sandwich? What kind of sandwich? Cheese sandwich. So the way she makes it, she puts it in the toaster, and then puts the cheese on, and then puts it in the microwave, and zaps it like that. So it's kind of like a quick grilled cheese in that way.
You gotta get those quick meals to get right back to her schoolwork, I bet.
Oh, she's done for the day. But what I did is I had to advocate, because, in the beginning with the school district, they sent out these crazy packets, but for the kids with special needs and autism, some of that stuff wasn't really, on point for our kids. So I'm looking like, how can we modify? I'm always thinking, how can we break this down? So 30 minutes for each subject, and whatever she can do is whatever she can do. I said, that's what I'm talking about. But of course, she ends up doing all of it. So,
because she's brilliant. So Icylee, how can people get in contact with you?
People can get in contact, and they can email me. It would be Icylee Basketbill76@gmail.com. So my first name is Icylee, B like boy, ASKETBILL 76 at Gmail. They also can reach me on social media, Icylee Laverne Basketbill. I'm in Philadelphia, Philly Autism Group on Facebook, and they can feel free to. I'll give my phone number, if we need to chat or anything further. So I'm happy to help. I do potty trainings for families. I'm happy to talk to whoever needs support.
Mhm.
Even if
Alright.
they want to cry, if they want to do anything, I'm the listening ear.
That's great, and sometimes, folks, it's good to cry and let it out. It's all about community, and Icylee is certainly a reinforcer of community and a force to be reckoned with in the autism community. Icylee, thank you for everything you do for people like me and your daughter. Before I let you go, if you could change one thing about how the world sees autism, what would it be and why?
Okay, if I could change how the world sees autism and why, I would say, just start with their strengths. Look at what they can do.
Mhm.
Just like someone looks at someone in a wheelchair and they assume that they can't do certain things. I would ask that they have what's called a beginner's mind, to be able to look at things with no judgment.
Mhm.
Um, don't be afraid to ask questions. And just don't assume that the child just can't do anything.
Mhm.
Give people a benefit of the doubt, and continue to spread awareness. And I think the world will be a better place if they opened up their hearts